Hey guys, you think they are your best friend, the life of the party, the person who instinctively gets you. But what if I told you that their irresistible charm is actually a carefully crafted weapon designed to use you? We have all met them. Those magnetic individuals who can walk into a room and instantly command attention, effortlessly remembering everyone's name, flashing $1 million smile, and making you feel like you are the most important person in the world. Yet behind closed doors, they leave you feeling utterly drained, second-guessing your own sanity, and wondering why you are always the one making sacrifices while they reap all the benefits. The ancient Roman philosopher Seneca warned us about this exact trap nearly 2,000 years ago when he wrote that flattery looks very much like friendship. Indeed, it not only resembles it but actually wins out against it, because it is drank in with eager ears and delights the very qualities that make it dangerous. Think about a time you met someone who just seemed too good to be true. Someone who immediately showered you with compliments, invited you to the best spots in town, and mirrored your hobbies so perfectly that you thought you had found your platonic soulmate. At first, it feels intoxicating to be chosen by someone with such high social currency, but then the subtle shifts begin. Like the favors they ask of you that start small but quickly escalate into massive inconveniences, or the way they expertly guilt-trip you when you try to set a boundary, making you feel like a terrible friend for saying no. You see, these toxic individuals do not stumble into your life by accident. They deploy weaponized charisma, a psychological tactic where charm is used not to connect, but to disarm your logical defenses and bypass your rational judgment. They are essentially hijacking your human nature, exploiting the fact that we are inherently social creatures wired to seek belonging and validation from our tribe. When they shower you with attention, your brain releases dopamine, creating a literal chemical dependency on their approval, which blinds you to the reality that they are quietly extracting your time, your energy, and your resources. You start making excuses for their bad behavior, telling yourself that they are just stressed, or that they did not mean to belittle you in front of your co-workers, or that flaking on your weekend plans at the last minute was just an honest mistake. But the Stoics teach us that our greatest vulnerability is our own flawed judgment. And when we attach our self-worth to the validation of a charismatic manipulator, we hand over the keys to our own minds. If you do not learn how to see through this illusion, you will spend your entire life being a pawn in someone else's game, constantly exhausted and entirely disconnected from your true purpose. But there is an antidote to this sweet trap. A way to protect yourself without becoming bitter or cynical. And it starts by adopting the mindset of the rational observer. Epictetus, a former slave turned great Stoic teacher, instructed his students to confront every harsh or overwhelming impression by saying, "You are but an impression, and not at all what you seem to be." By stepping back and stripping away their magnetic smile, their smooth words, and their flattering texts, you force yourself to look exclusively at their actions. You stop being a participant in their dramatic play and take a seat in the audience, watching them objectively and evaluating whether their behavior actually aligns with the virtues of a true friend, such as honesty, consistency, and mutual respect. This is the first step in reclaiming your freedom, because once you learn to separate the dazzling performance from the cold reality of their actions, their weaponized charisma loses all its power over you. You believe you are building a lifelong bond, but in reality, you are just feeding an emotional parasite who has learned exactly which buttons to push to make you feel important. It is a harsh truth to swallow, but the illusion of friendship is often far more seductive than the real thing. 2,000 years ago, the Stoic philosopher Seneca observed this exact phenomenon, noting that flattery looks very much like friendship, and tragically, it often wins out against it, because a person drinks it in with eager ears, delighted by the very qualities that make it so dangerous. Imagine a scenario that plays out every day in coffee shops and office buildings across the country. Perhaps one you have experienced yourself. You meet someone new, maybe at a weekend backyard barbecue or a corporate networking event, and immediately, they make you feel like the absolute center of the universe. They laugh at all of your jokes. They praise your taste in music. They agree enthusiastically with your worldview, and they tell you that you are one of the smartest people they have ever met. They might even drive 20 miles down the interstate just to bring you a $5 coffee, creating a profound sense of indebtedness and emotional connection. Your brain, craving validation, tells you that you have finally found a kindred spirit, a true friend who understands your depths. But this is where the psychological trap springs shut. What you are experiencing is not a connection based on mutual character or shared virtues, which the ancient Stoics considered the only foundation for true friendship, but rather a masterful manipulation of your own vanity. These fake friends do not actually see you. They see a reflection of what they can extract from you, whether that is access to your professional network, your financial generosity, or simply the emotional high they get from having a loyal follower. We fall for this illusion because human beings possess a deep, evolutionary need to be valued. And when someone bypasses our logical filters by feeding our ego, we willingly ignore the obvious red flags. You might notice that they only ever call when they need a favor, or that conversations inevitably steer back to their own dramas, leaving you feeling like a supporting character in the movie of their life. The ancient philosophers understood that true friendship is a rare and beautiful thing, built on a foundation of mutual moral improvement and honesty, not utility or fleeting pleasure. When you mistake flattery for genuine affection, you compromise your own integrity, lowering your standards to keep this charismatic presence in your life. You start agreeing with their toxic gossip just to keep the peace, or you exhaust yourself trying to meet their ever-changing demands, slowly losing sight of who you really are. The cost of maintaining this illusion is your own peace of mind and your rational independence. To break free from this destructive cycle, you must actively confront your own ego and ask yourself why you need their external validation so desperately. You must recognize that a genuine friend will tell you the hard truths you need to hear, even if it stings for a moment, while a fake friend will feed you a steady diet of sweet lies that slowly poison your judgment. The moment you decide to value your own rational assessment over the intoxicating high of their flattery, the illusion begins to shatter. You will see their grand gestures not as acts of kindness, but as calculated investments designed to yield a specific return. This realization is not meant to make you cynical about human connection. Rather, it is the necessary awakening required to clear the space in your life for relationships that are actually real and grounded in mutual respect. You think they are asking for a favor because they value your expertise, but in reality, they are using their charm to blindfold your logic and empty your pockets. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus warned us about this very danger when he instructed his students to carefully examine their impressions and not be swept away by the outward appearance of things. He taught that our greatest vulnerability is our own untested perception. Let us look closer at that same charismatic person from the coffee shop or the corporate office. After they have successfully buttered you up and made you feel like their most trusted confidant, the dynamic subtly shifts. They call you on a Tuesday night, their voice dripping with manufactured warmth, and they tell you that you are the absolute only person in the world they can trust with a massive problem. Maybe they need you to drive 50 miles across town in rush hour traffic to help them move heavy furniture out of their apartment. Or perhaps they need you to stay late at the office to finish a complex data report that they will ultimately present to the executives under their own name. Notice exactly how they frame the request. They do not just ask for a monumental favor. They weaponize their charisma by wrapping the exploitation in a thick, irresistible layer of praise. They tell you that your analytical skills are unmatched, that your new pickup truck is a lifesaver, or that nobody else has your incredible work ethic. This is the psychological mechanism of weaponized charisma at work, and it is devastatingly effective. It creates a profound cognitive dissonance in your brain, because this person has previously flooded your nervous system with dopamine through their compliments and grand, sweeping gestures. Your mind desperately wants to hold on to the image of them as a wonderful, supportive friend. When they start extracting your precious time and energy, your brain actively rationalizes their parasitic behavior to avoid the painful realization that you have been skillfully manipulated. You tell yourself that real friends help each other out, completely ignoring the glaring fact that the flow of assistance only ever goes in one direction. You might even feel a twisted sense of pride that this magnetic, popular person relies on you so heavily. But make no mistake, they are not relying on your friendship. They are relying on your inability to say no to their charm. They know that as long as they keep flashing that $1 million smile and telling you how amazing you are, you will keep sacrificing your own boundaries and neglecting your own priorities. The ancient Stoics understood that the only way to defeat this sophisticated manipulation is to separate the packaging from the product. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius practiced a powerful mental technique of stripping things down to their barest, most objective reality to see them for what they truly were, completely devoid of their flowery descriptions and emotional associations. You must actively apply this exact same technique to your charismatic friend. Take away their captivating smile, mute their highly flattering words, and completely erase the memory of that coffee they bought you last week. Look exclusively at the undeniable facts. What are you left with? You are left with the raw data of their actions. You are left with a person who consistently demands your resources while offering nothing of actual substance in return. You are left with a person who uses your innate generosity as a stepping stone for their own selfish advancement. When you systematically strip away the weaponized charisma, the enchanting illusion evaporates, and you finally see the emotional parasite hiding beneath the charm. This crucial realization is not about becoming cold, bitter, or universally paranoid about human interaction. Rather, it is about fiercely protecting your reasoned choice and reclaiming your rational independence. It is the necessary step to stop bleeding your energy into a bottomless pit and to start preserving your time for people who genuinely value your moral character over your temporary usefulness. But here is the most dangerous part of the trap. The moment where most people fail and slide right back into the cycle of manipulation. Because even after you have successfully stripped away their enchanting words and seen the raw data of their selfish actions, your emotional brain will still desperately crave the comforting illusion of their friendship. You might find yourself sitting on your couch at 8 o'clock on a Friday night, staring at your phone, feeling a deep, agonizing pang of guilt for finally ignoring their text message, wondering if perhaps you are the one being too harsh, or too judgmental, or too unyielding. This is exactly why simply recognizing a fake friend is never enough. You have to fundamentally change the way you interact with the reality they present to you. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus provided a masterclass in this exact psychological defense when he famously declared that we are not disturbed by things themselves, but rather by the views we take of them and our judgments about them. He urged his students to stop being mindless actors swept up in the drama of other people's lives, and to instead become what we can call the rational observer. Imagine for a moment that you are back in that crowded office break room or that noisy neighborhood barbecue, and your charismatic friend walks in, immediately commanding the room with their booming laugh and their seemingly effortless charm. In the past, you would have instinctively rushed to their side, eager to bask in the warm glow of their attention, desperate to play the role of their loyal sidekick. But today, armed with the mindset of the rational observer, you do something entirely different. You physically take a step back. You lean against the far wall. You hold your drink, and you just watch them as if you have paid $20 for a ticket to a theater performance. From this vantage point of emotional detachment, the entire dynamic shifts, and you begin to notice the subtle, calculated mechanics of their weaponized charisma that were previously invisible to you. You see how they intentionally mirror the body language of the regional manager to gain favor. You hear the slight, condescending edge in their voice when they compliment a rival coworker, and you watch them effortlessly drop a conversation with someone the exact second that person is no longer useful to them. When you observe their behavior without the blinding filter of your own emotional attachment, you realize with absolute clarity that their charm is not a reflection of a beautiful soul, but rather a highly rehearsed script designed to manipulate the audience. The psychological reason this detachment is so incredibly powerful is that it completely short-circuits the dopamine loop they rely on to keep you under their control. manipulators thrive on your emotional reactions. Whether it is your enthusiastic agreement, your anxious apologies, or your desperate attempts to win back their favor when they give you the silent treatment. By refusing to give them that emotional energy, by choosing to remain completely still and analytical, you starve the parasite. Practicing this level of Stoic detachment does not mean you have to confront them in a dramatic, screaming argument in the middle of the office. Nor does it require you to storm out of the room in a fit of righteous anger. In fact, the most devastating thing you can do to a charismatic manipulator is to simply become profoundly bored by their performance. You smile politely, you give brief, non-committal answers, and you mentally label their actions as interesting data points rather than personal attacks. You reclaim your power the exact moment you realize that their grand, dramatic play is no longer your reality, and you are perfectly content to sit in the back row, calmly watching the curtain fall on their illusion. Once the curtain falls on their illusion and you finally see the manipulator for who they truly are, a new and often terrifying question arises in your mind regarding what exactly you do now that you know the truth. Your first instinct might be to confront them, to demand a sincere apology, or to try and force them to see the error of their ways. But doing so would mean falling right back into their carefully laid emotional trap. This brings us to the most powerful psychological tool in the entire Stoic arsenal, a concept known as the dichotomy of control. The ancient philosopher Epictetus made it incredibly clear when he taught that the chief task in life is simply to identify and separate matters so that we can say clearly to ourselves which are externals not under our control, and which have to do with the choices we actually control. When it comes to the charismatic fake friend, you have to accept a harsh but deeply liberating reality. You have absolutely zero control over their character, their actions, or their manipulative tendencies. You cannot force them to develop genuine empathy. You cannot negotiate them into becoming a loyal companion, and no amount of your unconditional love is going to magically fix their broken moral compass. We often stay trapped in toxic friendships because of a delusional savior complex, secretly hoping that if we just drive them to the airport one more time, or lend them another $500, or listen to their endless drama for 3 more hours, they will finally wake up and realize how much they value us. But the Stoics understood that waiting for a toxic person to change is like standing in the middle of a thunderstorm and demanding that the rain stop falling on you. It is a complete waste of your mental energy. What you do control, however, with absolute and unbreakable authority, is the guest list to your own life. Think about your inner circle as a highly secure vault. You would never intentionally leave the door wide open and allow a known thief to stroll in and empty your bank account just because they happened to wear a really nice suit and complimented your shoes. Yet, we do this emotionally every single day. We allow emotional thieves to bypass our security system simply because they deploy that weaponized charisma we talked about earlier. Applying the dichotomy of control to your social circles means taking back the keys to that vault. You do not need to stage a dramatic exit or engage in a screaming match that will only give them the emotional reaction they desperately crave. Instead, you simply revoke their access. You stop answering their late-night text messages demanding your immediate attention. You stop volunteering for tasks that drain your energy and only serve to elevate their status. You start protecting your time as if it were the most valuable asset you own, because it truly is. When they inevitably try to guilt-trip you for suddenly setting a boundary, perhaps by calling you selfish or a bad friend, you must recognize that this is just another external event outside of your control. You cannot control the false narrative they might spread about you to other co-workers or acquaintances, but you have complete control over whether you let that narrative disturb your peace of mind. By firmly grasping the dichotomy of control, you realize that you do not have to fix them, nor do you have to defeat them in some grand psychological chess match. Your only duty is to yourself and your own rational independence. You choose who gets to sit at your table, and the moment you decide that fake, manipulative charm is no longer accepted as valid currency in your life, you instantly strip the emotional parasite of their power and permanently reclaim your freedom. Even after you resolve to protect your inner circle, a lingering voice of doubt will likely whisper in your ear, asking if you are simply being paranoid and throwing away a perfectly good relationship just because you read too much into a few minor incidents. The Roman philosopher Seneca addressed this exact hesitation when he wrote in his letters that before you make a friend, you must first make a careful, objective judgment about their character, rather than blindly trusting the appealing mask they present to the world. Furthermore, the Stoics taught that we must become like an assayer of silver, possessing the skill to test the currency of our lives so we can distinguish the genuine coin from the counterfeit. Right now, you are dealing with untested currency. You see their $1,000,000 smile and hear their flattering words, but you need empirical evidence to know what is actually underneath the surface. To get that undeniable evidence, you must administer a practical test, a deliberate stressor designed to crack their carefully constructed facade. Imagine your charismatic friend calls you on a Thursday afternoon, asking for yet another significant favor, perhaps requesting that you spend your entire Saturday helping them paint their massive new apartment, or asking to borrow a few $100s for an emergency they conveniently refuse to clearly explain. In the past, your programmed, people-pleasing response would be an immediate, eager yes, driven by your deep desire to keep them happy and secure your place in their inner circle. But this time, you deploy the ultimate diagnostic tool of the rational observer, the simple, firm, and unapologetic word, no. You do not offer a lengthy, anxious apology. You do not invent a complex lie about being sick, and you do not offer to make it up to them by buying them dinner next week. You calmly and politely state that you are simply unavailable and cannot help them this time. Now, you must remain completely silent and pay very close attention to exactly what happens next, because the following 60 seconds will reveal everything you need to know about their true character. A genuine friend, someone who values your moral character and respects your personal autonomy, will accept your boundary with ease, perhaps expressing mild disappointment, but ultimately telling you that they completely understand and will catch up with you later. But the charismatic manipulator operates on an entirely different psychological framework. one based purely on transactional extraction and compliance. When you deny them what they want, you short-circuit their control mechanism, and the charming mask instantly slips off. You might hear their tone of voice drop abruptly from warm and inviting to icy and clipped, devoid of all its previous affection. They might immediately deploy a sophisticated guilt trip, reminding you of that one cheap coffee they bought you 3 months ago, trying to make you feel like you are betraying a sacred debt. Or, perhaps most tellingly, they might completely withdraw their attention, punishing you with the silent treatment for weeks, simply because you are no longer serving your designated purpose as their endless supply of resources. This hostile reaction is not a sign that you have done something wrong, nor does it mean you are a bad friend. It is the absolute, empirical confirmation that your rational judgment was right all along. The Stoics believed in constantly testing our impressions against reality, and this boundary-setting exercise is exactly how you bring their ancient philosophy into your modern social life. You do not even have to wait for a massive favor to run this diagnostic test. You can start incredibly small. The next time they demand you drop your plans to meet them at their favorite spot 20 miles away, suggest a location that is actually convenient for you instead and watch how they handle the compromise. When you introduce these minor points of friction, you force the fake friend to reveal whether they are genuinely interested in a mutual relationship of equals, or if they are simply looking for a compliant subordinate. By actively testing the mask, you eliminate all the agonizing emotional guesswork, leaving you with the cold, hard facts that empower you to keep the door to your life firmly closed with absolute, unwavering confidence. But we are about to reach the most critical juncture in this entire process. The final realization where you will understand exactly why everything in your social life has felt so incredibly heavy up until now, and how to become absolutely bulletproof against any future manipulation. You might have successfully tested the mask and watched it slip, but the hardest part is surviving the immediate fallout. Because a charismatic manipulator will never simply walk away quietly when they realize they have lost their grip on you. The ancient Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius provided the perfect blueprint for this exact moment when he wrote in his Meditations that you must be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, standing firm and taming the fury of the water around it. Imagine the days following that moment you finally told your fake friend no. They will inevitably launch a counterattack designed specifically to provoke an emotional response. Because your emotion is the currency they trade in, they might suddenly switch tactics and attempt to love bomb you with an overwhelming flood of apologies, flattery, and grand promises to change, hoping to hook your empathy. Or, conversely, they might wage a covert campaign of passive aggression, making subtle, undermining comments about your work performance during a team meeting, or conveniently forgetting to invite you to a group lunch that is happening just 2 blocks away down the street. They are desperately casting their line into the water, trying to hook your anger, your guilt, or your desperate need to defend your own reputation. From a psychological standpoint, this is known as an extinction burst, a temporary increase in the frequency and intensity of a toxic behavior when the reward for that behavior is suddenly removed. They want you to yell. They want you to cry. And they want you to send a 1,000-word text message explaining exactly why you are upset. Because any reaction, even a highly negative one, validates their power over you and keeps you actively engaged in their theatrical production. This is where you must deploy the ultimate Stoic superpower, the profound practice of complete and utter indifference. In modern psychological terms, this is often called the gray rock method, but the ancient Stoics mastered it 2 millennia ago. When you practice this, you do not argue, you do not defend yourself, and you do not try to expose their toxic behavior to everyone else in the office. You simply become the most boring, unreactive, and emotionally unavailable object in their universe, exactly like a gray rock sitting in the middle of a garden. If they send a highly dramatic, guilt-tripping message, you wait 4 hours and respond with a simple, unenthusiastic, "Okay." If they try to bait you into an argument by making a snide remark about your new car or your recent promotion, you just look at them with a blank expression, give a slight shrug, and calmly change the subject to something incredibly mundane, like the weather or a recent spreadsheet. You must understand that indifference is not a sign of weakness or submission. It is the most devastating psychological weapon you can possibly use against a manipulator. It completely starves them of the dopamine and the narcissistic supply they need to survive. By refusing to engage, you are practically applying the Stoic principle that your peace of mind is infinitely more valuable than winning a petty argument or proving a point to someone who is fundamentally committed to misunderstanding you. As you stand firm like that cliff Marcus Aurelius described, letting their manipulative waves crash harmlessly against your solid foundation, you will literally watch them exhaust themselves. Eventually, they will realize that their weaponized charisma no longer works on you. The emotional well has completely dried up, and they will naturally pack up their theatrical performance and move on to find an easier, more compliant target, leaving you in a state of profound, undisturbed tranquility. You might feel a profound, aching sense of emptiness when they finally pack up their theatrical performance and walk away from your life. But you must understand that this sudden silence is not loneliness. It is the breathtaking sound of your newly reclaimed freedom. The ancient Stoic philosopher Seneca understood this difficult transition perfectly when he advised his student Lucilius that the wise person is entirely self-sufficient, and while they naturally prefer to have friends, they do not desperately need them in order to live a good, virtuous life. Seneca explained that when a wise person is left without companions, they simply retreat into themselves and become their own excellent company. Picture the weeks immediately following your successful deployment of the gray rock method. You are sitting at your desk on a Tuesday morning, or perhaps you are having lunch by yourself at a quiet cafe down the street. And you happen to look over and see your former charismatic friend working their magic on a brand new target. You watch them flash that same dazzling $1,000,000 smile. You hear them laughing too loudly at a mediocre joke. And you see them performing the exact same magnetic routine that originally trapped you. For a brief second, society conditioning might make you feel a pang of rejection, whispering that you have lost your place in the inner circle, that you are missing out on the fun, or that you are somehow defective for ending up alone. This is the psychological climax of your journey, the ultimate test of your rational independence. Because human beings are biologically wired as social creatures to fear isolation, equating a lack of a tribe with a lack of safety. But the Stoics teach us that there is a massive, fundamental difference between being physically alone and being emotionally forlorn. Being forlorn means you are helpless and dependent on external validation, while being alone simply means you have temporarily cleared the room of distractions. When you mourn the loss of a fake friend, you are not actually mourning a genuine human connection. You are simply experiencing the withdrawal symptoms of a dopamine detox. You are missing the unpredictable highs and lows, the dramatic manufactured crises, and the fleeting bursts of artificial validation that kept your nervous system in a constant state of exhausting overdrive. To truly complete your transformation into the rational observer, you must radically reframe your perspective on solitude. You must realize that having 0 friends for a season is infinitely better, infinitely healthier, and infinitely more honorable than having a dozen fake friends who are secretly draining your resources and compromising your moral character. You must be completely willing to burn the toxic bridges in your life, even if it means you have to stand alone on the riverbank for a while. This is not a punishment. It is a profound, necessary cleansing. By voluntarily choosing this temporary solitude, you are actively sweeping out the accumulated garbage of manipulation and deceit from the sanctuary of your mind. You are creating a pristine, quiet space where your true virtues can finally take root and flourish without interference. When you stop pouring your precious time and emotional energy into a bottomless pit of weaponized charisma, you will suddenly find that you have a massive surplus of energy to invest in your own personal growth, your own genuine interests, and your own physical well-being. You become self-sufficient, meaning your happiness is no longer held hostage by the unpredictable moods and demands of an emotional parasite. And, ironically, it is only when you reach this state of absolute contentment with your own company, completely unbothered by their absence, that you become truly capable of forming healthy, reciprocal relationships in the future. Because you will never again have to settle for counterfeit affection just to avoid the quiet. When you finally stand on that riverbank, comfortable in your own company and completely unburdened by the exhausting demands of weaponized charisma, you will experience a profound, permanent shift in how you view every single interaction moving forward. You have successfully cleared the stage of your life, sweeping out the accumulated garbage of manipulation. But you must understand that the theater of the world never actually closes its doors. The ancient Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively in his private journals about the absolute necessity of guarding your guiding principles, reminding himself that his soul was an impregnable inner citadel, a fortress that could never be breached by outside forces unless he willingly handed over the keys. You will need to keep the gates of your own inner citadel heavily guarded, because the reality is that society is absolutely filled with magnetic, charming individuals who are constantly scanning the room, looking for their next loyal supporting character to drain. Tomorrow morning, or perhaps next week, you might walk into a completely new environment, maybe a bustling new office building, a crowded neighborhood event, or a different social club, and you will inevitably cross paths with someone who flashes that exact same familiar, intoxicating smile. They will effortlessly remember your name. They will laugh loudly at your jokes, and they will immediately deploy their manufactured warmth to try and make you feel like you are the most fascinating person they have ever met. But this time, the outcome will be entirely different, because you are no longer the same desperate, validation-starved person you once were. You might still feel that initial biological rush of dopamine, because human beings are fundamentally hardwired to respond to flattery and social acceptance. But instead of being blindly swept away by the emotional high, your rational mind will immediately step in and take command of the situation. You will consciously and deliberately deploy the mindset of the rational observer, mentally stepping back to the furthest corner of the room, stripping away their enchanting words, and evaluating them strictly on the cold, hard, objective data of their continuous actions. You will remember the profound, liberating lessons of the dichotomy of control, accepting with total peace of mind that you cannot magically fix their broken character. You cannot teach them genuine empathy, and you cannot force them to value you as an equal. But you will also know, with absolute and unshakable certainty, that you hold the ultimate sovereign authority over who gets access to your time, your emotional energy, and your valuable resources. And when they inevitably try to test your newly established boundaries, perhaps by demanding a massive favor at the last minute or attempting to reel you in with a highly dramatic, manufactured crisis, you will not react with explosive anger. You will not offer a long, tearful apology for saying no. And you will not exhaust yourself trying to expose their toxic behavior to everyone else around you. You will simply offer them the devastating, impenetrable power of your complete indifference, standing perfectly firm like a massive cliff while their manipulative emotional waves crash harmlessly against your solid foundation and eventually recede back into the ocean. This is the ultimate promise of the Stoic philosophy applied to our modern social dynamics. It does not promise a utopian life completely free from encountering fake friends, because charismatic manipulators will always exist in the world. But it absolutely guarantees a life where those manipulators have zero power to disturb your inner tranquility. You have finally learned how to separate the dazzling, theatrical illusion from the stark, objective reality. And in doing so, you have permanently reclaimed your freedom. As you move forward into the rest of your life, keep this fundamental truth deeply etched into your consciousness, allowing it to guide every new connection you make and every single boundary you set. You cannot ever change a fake friend. You cannot negotiate with weaponized charisma, and you cannot love a psychological manipulator into becoming a decent human being. But you can always, in every single circumstance, make the conscious, rational choice to completely stop playing their victim. If this video helped you open your eyes to the weaponized charisma of fake friends, and you are ready to reclaim your rational independence, hit the subscribe button right now to join our community of modern Stoics. We are dedicated to building unshakable character and finding true tranquility in a chaotic world. Leave a comment below sharing your own experience with a charismatic manipulator and how you plan to apply the gray rock method to protect your inner citadel today. Do not forget to like this video so this ancient wisdom can reach others who desperately need to hear it. And remember that your greatest power always lies in your own reasoned choice. See you next video.